was from here. I just wanted to share an experience I had the end of 2021 and last year with skin cancer. It's a bit of a different kind of video, but I thought I would like to share what I went through as the skin cancer was on my face. So in the end of 2021, I noticed a small bump on the side of my nose over here. I noticed it when I was putting on a shirt, and it went over and like grabbed it, and it hurt. It was kind of painful. So I asked friend to make an appointment to go see her dermatologist, and they couldn't see me for a couple months. There's going to be some graphic pictures. There's going to be some open wounds, stitches. So if you're kind of squeamish, you might not want to watch. Maybe just listen. I'm not a doctor. I don't play one on TV. I didn't stay at a Motel 6 last night. But I just wanted to share my thoughts and things that I went through in dealing with this. The appointment time finally came up in the end of January. Went in, they did a biopsy, just took a piece off of the end of the side of my nose, and sent that off. It came back for basal cell carcinoma. It's a type of skin cancer. And the surgery was scheduled later, but also at that appointment they took a picture of the area so they could send it to the doctor in case they needed to. But the surgery was scheduled for sometime in February, and they're doing something called a Mohs surgery. What is they cut around the area of the cancer, and then they cut underneath it, and they take that little layer they take underneath it and stain it and do something with it so they can look at it under a microscope and see if there's any other areas extending out from the cancer. So the day of surgery comes around. I'm kind of scared. I'm like, okay, I need to start practicing my Skeletor laugh and stuff because I'm going to have to take off my entire nose. But print included a note in my little lunch bag because in the paperwork they sent, they said, this could take pretty much all day, so you might want to bring a lunch. I also took a book. The print included a note saying, not to worry, that all will go well. And so went in, I had the surgery. They took out, I think they said it was a 3x5 millimeter, I'm guessing, size of hole in my on my nose. I could easily fit a Q-tip in it and clean it when it was done. So there's a picture after, just covering up my nose, but there's the actual hole in my nose. Previous side, like I said, you can clean it easily with a Q-tip. They just said to clean it with peroxide and then put Vaseline on it and then cover it up. And I did that, I guess you could say fairly religiously to keep it covered and hoping that it would heal well. But I think that's the day of the surgery after I got home and had a chance to clean it up. And that's, I think, a week later. And you can actually see under my eye another spot that I have them check out when I go in for the checkup at the dermatologist. And there's another one. That one's a little bit later. I started putting Vaseline on that spot. I don't know why. I was like, okay, if it worked on that, you can kind of see the spot of my nose is healed over. But when I went back in for the later appointment, I had them check out that area. They cut out, they did another biopsy in that area, sent it off, came back positive of another basal cell. So made another appointment, went to the doctor. Kind of funny because it was all in the morning, and I get there and I'm waiting for them to even open, and I get a text that the heating, sorry, not the heating, this is Georgia, it was basically summertime, the air conditioner was broken, and so it was hot in the office, so they were looking at canceling all the appointments. So I was sitting there trying to figure out what I was going to do. I was like, okay, well, I'll wait until it's 8 o'clock so that I can call them and see what's going on. I get 7:55. They send another one saying, no, it's all right, come in. So same thing, I've got a lunch, and I've got something to keep me busy depending on how long I'm going to be there. The previous one, they got it in one go, so I wasn't super worried about how long it would take on this one. But So that's after they finished the initial cutting. They actually had to bandage me up after they showed me the spot that they cut out. I think they said it was, if I remember, it's like 13 by 15. And so they took out a good chunk of skin, showed it to me, and it was the AC wasn't working all that well, so I started getting a little woozy. They gave me some ice, and I just walked around an area for a little bit, and they eventually got it so that it was actually starting to cool. Came back in, they started doing, so they had to, because they took out so much, they had to do stitches in my face, and it was almost kind of like a little plastic surgery. I got a little bit of facelift on this side. The doctor was sitting there messing around with my cheek, pushing it, trying to see I guess the elasticity of it and whatnot. And because I had to, sew it back together. So they made some of the marks to see what they were going to do. And then there it is after they've done it. I had 9 stitches that were visible going up and under my left eye. There was also some underneath that dissolved over time. That was, I think, a couple days later. Some of the swelling had gone down. I didn't really get a black eye, but I mean it was rather puffy. There's another one where it's still a little puffy, but thankfully they got that one again in one go. They took it off, did the looking under the microscope, and said we got it all, and sewed me back up. Again, a little bit later, a little bit less puffy. That's me putting some stuff on it because again I kept it covered. So put the Vaseline, cleaned it with the peroxide best I could with the little thing sticking out from the cat gut or whatever it's called now, and put Vaseline on it and covered it up, and I'd go about my business. There's a better shot, it's much closer. You can also see the spot on my nose. That's healed up pretty well. And it still seems like it's still healing because it's filling in, and most people can't really even tell where it's at, but I see it every time. I see both. I can easily see where they are on my face, but I have to look at my ugly mug all the time, so at least a reflection of it. That's again just trying to keep it so it would heal well. And that I think was like a week and a half after the surgery. They took out all the stitches. A little part right here in the corner was a little bit more stubborn than everything else in trying to heal. Steri strips to help keep it together and whatnot. But after the first one, I was much calmer about the second one, but still not all that great. You have to go and get cut on, and you hear the word cancer. It's kind of freaky, but I'm taking precautions now if I'm going to be outside for a long time. There's sunscreen. I've gone and bought some hats. I have one at work, so when I take my walks at work, my head's covered. I've got one that's a little bit nicer, so if I need to wear it with, like I wore this to a funeral when we went to the graveside. So I'm not huge on hats, but between having to get cut on again and wearing hats, I've opted for wearing hats. I'm doing ones with wide brims so it covers more. And when I take my walks at work, I'm angling my hat towards the sun so that I know it looks weird, but if the sun's on this side of my face, I've got it so that the angle of the sun won't hit particularly my nose and my cheek. And then when it's on the other side, I just swap it over, do the same thing. Imagine when people are driving by, they're like, what's up with that dude? But again, this is trying to keep me from having to go through that again. It wasn't exactly cheap. Insurance covered a good part, but then there's your deductible. But yeah, that's my experience. I'm one day at a time. I've gone back to the dermatologist and had a couple of spots checked out. They've both been negative, and hopefully that continues on, and I don't have any more positive hopefully that continues on. I can just, keep going and not have to worry too much about it and just take the precautions and, wear sunscreen. One day at a time. If anyone's got any questions, like I said, I'm not a doctor. This is just stuff I've experienced. I'll put a link down in something about basal cell cancer if anyone's curious to go look at it. There's something from the Mayo Clinic that you can look at and get some more information. If you got any spots, go and get them checked out. I had to pinpoint. I showed both the spots and had them look at them, and they didn't even notice the one under my eye. But again, you are generally much more familiar with your body. You see it all the time, and so when a weird bump or something comes up, get it checked out. Go to your doctor, dermatologist, whatever you got to do. The first time I went to the dermatologist was for that little nose spot. You made it this far, appreciate it. Hope everyone takes care. Pay attention to what's going on with your body, and it's okay to ask questions. And you might, we all laugh about the joke, when I do this, it hurts. And I said, well, don't do that. There's a little bit more to it, because you never know if you've messed up your rotator cuff or something. Well, it hurt when I put my shirt on because I snagged that little spot of skin cancer. If it hadn't been for that, I wouldn't gotten that one or that one checked out. And the one under my left eye had been there for a while, and I thought it was just like scar tissue had grown over something. But since I was at the dermatologist, I was like, you want to look at that? You want to look at that? I had a spot on my side, one on my leg that I had him look at. It's better to be safe than sorry, especially with this stuff. Have a good day, everyone. Thanks for watching. Take care, have fun, be kind of one another, stay safe, keep it retro. God bless. We'll catch you later.